Hey guys, what's up? Kripparrian here. Today I'm going to give you guys a lesson on competition. I've played video games for the last 12 years. I've been competitive in practically all of those years. Been server first 80, server first 85, done it all solo. Got the Iron Man challenge complete. I've been a D2 ladder runner for over 10 years. I've min-maxed games to the highest level possible. If you are a competitive gamer or if you plan to become one, this video may be one of the most important ones you'll ever see. My methods apply to every game and every real-life situation. But in this case, I'll show you guys how to get server first level 90, possibly even more than that, as a form of example. My view of competitive edge is as follows. You learn as much as you can, more so than anyone else. You develop your strategies in every minimum and maximum way possible, and your sum of advantages will propel you above the competition. You may get some things wrong, but if the sum of your advantages is greater than theirs, you will come out ahead every time. Let's get one last thing out of the way. Why bother getting server first level 90? Especially doing it solo. Well, there's a big difference. If you do it solo, if you put in all the effort, you will reap all the reward. This is not the same as, how Athene or some other people have done it, where you get a team of people helping you. While you may get like world first, level 85, level 80 or whatever, but it's not the same feeling. If you put in the effort, you do it all yourself, you beat out all the competition, you will feel amazing. You would have come out on top of a competitive situation against millions, not just a handful of other people having their teams propel themselves to number one. It's a different thing altogether. So let's get started. To get server first level 90, there's 3 large requirements. Number 1, you are already a great World of Warcraft player. You're not going to have time to learn the ropes if you're just starting out, unfortunately, but if you have the skills already, you have the potential to get this. Number 2, you have access to the beta. Practicing your strategy on the beta and knowing all the details there is to know about the beta will give you a huge advantage over those without it. Number 3, you have complete control over your life for a 1 to 2 day period when that time comes. There are a few preparations that need to be made now, or at least you gotta get started on this stuff. You have to begin obtaining the best possible gear. You need to develop, perfect, and innovate the best large-scale leveling strategies, whether it's grinding, questing, instancing, whatever you come up with, you gotta figure it out. You need many options. You need to do every quest on the beta to figure out how it works. Do your trial runs. Make sure your strategy is as you think it is. You need to learn as much about Mists of Pandaria as possible. No one else can know any details that you may have missed. You need to get a 310 mount, and you gotta get in a high-level guild to reap those guild perks for leveling. Now, there's gonna be other in-game preparations that you can make over the next course of time between now and when the expansion comes out. You need to set binds to target the nearest NPC, and another bind to interact with them. When there's a bunch of people on top of like one of the first quest NPCs you run into, you need to get in there, get out, do the quest. You don't want to be one of those people stuck there, clicking endlessly, doing all that garbage and wasting all that time. You need to be ahead. Get add-ons to eliminate quest text as well. If you're doing quests, and you probably are going to do at least a few of them, you can't be doing next, continue, all that crap. You got to get through it as fast as possible. Get a map add-on so you don't get lost, so you remember exactly where the points are on the map. Get rid of that fog of war and all that garbage. Make sure all your add-ons work flawlessly on the beta. You can't have any issues where you crash because of your add-ons not working when the game releases. Prepare your character. Use the best professions, the best leveling gear. Capitalize on procs rather than static gear, because you'll have downtime when you run around and your procs are resetting during that time. Procs are ideal. Get the best leveling spec. Figure out what that is. If it comes to various skills, your pet, you gotta know what it is, you gotta use it, you gotta practice it. Prepare your inventory. Get rid of the all non-essential items. Load it with health potions, stat potions, flasks, food, drums, fort scrolls, etc. Everything that you can use to give you a competitive edge. More stats, doing it faster, everything. Also, as far as potions are concerned, macro them into your abilities. If you want to use potions non-stop and you don't want to think about it, to get that extra squeeze of juice out of your damage potential, put a haste pot, put a stat pot in front of every ability in a macro. Also, don't forget, you need to have 25 quests or dailies ready to turn in when the game comes out, so you can get that extra bit of exp at the beginning, and you can exit the first zone before anyone else can. Now we're going to go over things that you have to figure out. You have to optimize these options yourself and develop the best way you can do it. You have to find the most efficient ways to get around the map and maximize the use of your teleport abilities, like Hearthstone for instance. Where do you put your inn? How do you get back there? Plan that out, have it ready. When you need to leave a zone in order to stay ahead and minimize the competition, you need to figure out when that is. If all these quests at the end of the zone suck, you gotta drop it. If you hit a certain level for a minimum requirement for the next zone, consider that it may be a better idea to go into that new zone rather than stay where you are. You need to figure out which item upgrades you will use and prepare enchant scrolls, gems, and other things that you can use during idle time. Figure out leveling optimized class-based methods. For example, if you're a hunter, don't use men pet on your pet. You can heal it by mounting up, going in the air, when you come back, it's a new pet, full life. Never have to use men pet again. Skip through mobs, run through them. Feign death skip. Don't kill stuff that you don't have to kill. Disengage running. You can disengage if you practice it. You can fine-tune it to the point where you can use it as a leap. Get where you want to go faster. Now when it comes to min-maxing, just playing the game is a big deal, but you can one-up those people that don't take the real-life preparations that you can. Tell the people you live with what you're doing and why they shouldn't bother you during that time span. Also, you gotta pre-download the game. You can typically get it officially, but if you can't, typically you can also find a torrent. When the time hits, when midnight hits, you need to be online, game downloaded, add-ons ready, everything ready, fragging mobs. Plan your schedule. You need to sleep all day before the game comes out. You want to wake up a few hours before the midnight launch, shower, exercise, eat. Do whatever you need to do to be at your best when midnight comes, when the game is released. Prepare food and drink before the launch. You can prepare like pasta, potatoes, or whatever. If you need to eat, do it. Try to avoid excessive drinking because you don't want to be going to the bathroom all the time. Plan your bathroom breaks in coordination with idle time. Now, let's get to idle time. What does that mean? If you remember leveling in Cataclysm, you'd have things like the first time you're going to Vashj'ir, you're just like watching some cinematic for like 2 minutes. When you're doing that, you can go to the bathroom, get some food, get some energy in you. That's when you want to do that stuff. Other times, for instance, when you're going to Twilight Highlands, you're on like a boat. That's idle time, but you can actually move your character. So that's the time you want to use to enchant and gem and do all the stuff you need to the gear that you just got from quests, so you can use that gear. You don't want to be sitting around, transmogging, reforging, enchanting, gemming, all the small upgrades that you find in the game. Who do you think will come out ahead? I'll use my gear, and you keep enchanting and reforging all the gear that you get. You got to figure out what time is the best time to do that in. The most important thing, when the game is launched, keep pace. Don't waste any seconds. Don't waste any time at all doing anything you don't have to do. Think about it this way. If I'm using potions, you're not using potions. We're doing everything else the same. Who do you think's going to come out ahead? If I'm not men petting my pet, I'm healing it by mounting up and dismounting. Who do you think's going to come out ahead? You got to do everything. If you want to come up ahead in Mists of Pandaria, get Silver First level 90, or in any other game, or even in life, do what I've said. Train to be the best at it, hit the next level, and win. If you play like a champion, you will become one.